My name is Milton Mermikides. I am the Gresham Professor of Music, and I'm here at the iconic Abbey Road Studios, where the Beatles recorded many of their seminal albums. But what is it about the Beatles' music that keeps people coming back, even to take pictures of the studio? Well, here we're going to look beneath the surface of the Beatles' music, their harmony, their rhythm, their lyrics, their timbre, and what it is about it that keeps people so fascinated all through the ages. Many people have a personal story when it comes to the Beatles, and mine is this. My father, a particle physicist, got a job at CERN in 1980, so our whole family moved there, and I was dislocated from my friends and school, and quite alone. But then a family friend gave me this cassette tape. All it said on it was the Beatles, but this little object and the sounds on it changed my life, as if the Beatles knew something about me deep inside that I couldn't express. And so I spent my whole life trying to understand why music could do such a thing. And this lecture will be an exploration of that deep particle physics of music and its effect on us. The music of the Beatles affected me really deeply in a strange but familiar way. And many listeners have the same experience. This survey we did on the Gresham listeners reported experiences of ethereal, feeling lonely, feeling strange, happy, but also magical and mysterious, as if they were in a dream. Why is this?
And so my whole life has been dedicated to how music works and has that power over us, this transformative power. And I feel this comes somehow from Lennon's Lewis Carroll influence, where it's not a world of dragons and elves, but of ordinary things put together, like a lobster telephone. For example, this line from Eleanor Rigby, wearing a face that she keeps in a jar by the door, is totally innocent, yet it haunts. And their music picks from the ordinary and somehow punctures the everyday into the magical, for me at least. There you see walruses and eggmen finding their way into their music. And it's the sort of lyrics that AI has a field day with. You can probably guess the tune from this. I like the plasticine porters myself. Now this invention, the Beatles, evolved rather rapidly. If we look at the lyrics in their early albums, they're the usual tropes of romance and dancing, and all can be catalogued as being romantic desire, celebration, misery, or an invitation to dance. But come 1965, all these themes came in. If we look at a word cloud with Magical Mystery Tour, gone are the abstract nouns of wanting into these concrete, surreal worlds of fields and eyes, of strawberries, of eggmen and strange policemen. Somehow, the ordinary becomes magical. The story of Lucy in the Sky of Diamonds has been argued, but Lennon insists that it's completely inspired by a painting that his son gave to him of Lucy, his classmate. And this is it. And he said, this is Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. Lucy O'Donnell, by the way, who was a great advocate for lupus research and sadly succumbed to that. And so what we find in the Beatles' lyrics is this plundering of the everyday to find the magical. If you know this piece, you might know that the entire lyrics are sourced from this 1843 poster. There's Lennon with it here. So what I want to show you is how Lennon picked from this poster to make the piece, altering it slightly so that it fits the rhythm and scansion.
For the benefit of Mr. Kite, there will be a show tonight on trampoline. The Hendersons will all be there, later Pablo Frank is fair, what a scene. Over men and horses, hoops and garters, lastly through a hogshead of real fire. In this way, Mr. K will change the world. The celebrated Mr. K performs his feat on Saturday at Bishopsgate. The Hendersons will dance and sing as Mr. K flies through the ring. Don't be late. Messrs. K and H assure the public their production will be second to none. And of course, Henry the Horse dances the waltz. The band begins at 10 to 6 when Mr. K performs his tricks without a sound. And Mr. H will demonstrate 10 somersets he'll undertake on solid ground. Having been some days in preparation, a splendid time is guaranteed for all. And tonight, Mr. Kite is topping the bill.
So the Beatles, with their lyrics, were able to somehow puncture through the everyday. They turned the mundane magical. And they did the same when it came to the pop industry. When we listen to pop music, we are partaking in these layers of artifice. For example, we think about a piece that is performed by an artist who operates within a style. That piece is recorded in studio, it's produced, put on some kind of object like a record or cassette that the listener consumes, and that exists all in this external world. Let's call these various layers the glass onion and explore how the Beatles managed to break every one of these layers.
Take, for example, the concept of the piece, which are meant to be individual items. In All You Need Is Love, they sing She Loves You over the end. Glass Onion draws reference to several of these other tunes as if they're living in a village of pieces. Parts of the Taxman are used in Tomorrow Never Knows, and there are whole medleys that occur in their music. And the concept of the artists, they were constantly playing with that. You can even see that with the album covers, where they're quite factual observations of them, to these geometric portraits, to the symbolic, to the deliberate distortions, to line drawing, until they are posing as a different band with waxwork dummies of themselves next to them. They don masks and then disappear completely. In one of the first pressings of Sgt. Pepper's, it came with a kit so you could dress up as the band, breaking the wall between listener and artist. And the object itself was used as a playground, hiding tracks after long gaps or in run-off grooves, or bringing in sounds from the outside world which had no place being there. Let's talk about Beatles' style, if we can say such a thing. Their period in Hamburg was so intense. To give you some idea, they once did a run of 97 days without a break, playing 6 to 8 hours a day. And during that time, they played repertoire after repertoire, starting with their classic rock and roll. But as their careers developed, more and more styles were brought into the mix. Each of these styles come with their own tropes. But what happens after time, and particularly with the Beatles, it doesn't always happen with bands, is that covalent bonds between the styles and the parameters disappeared, so they're able to cross-fertilize. When they picked mainly from a local style, it doesn't sound like the Beatles at all.
Don't pass me by, don't make me cry, don't make me blue, 'cause you know, darling, I love...
As they start to cross-fertilize, from these different styles. They start sounding like themselves. Is it folk? Is it drone music? And this constant stylistic switching and parody was even turned onto themselves. If you know this track, it sounds like it's a meta Beatles track, singing about their own music in a way. But it wasn't all ironic. There's real feeling and genuine authenticity in these tracks.
I'll often stop and think about them.
And they can just draw from any style they wish, like impersonation of Baroque counterpoint in the middle of a folk ballad. Let's talk matters of time. In the pop sphere, we tend to occupy the 2 to 3 minute range, and that's where the Beatles started, strictly within this acceptable range around 2 to 4 minutes. And as we move through, don't worry, this didn't take ages or anything. Suddenly, within you and without you, aptly, we break this barrier, not just above, but below. Hey Jude, Revolution number 9, a pure electronic music concrete piece, pushes the safe guidelines even further. And by their last year or two, they had both the longest and the shortest tracks, 25 seconds for Her Majesty. In fact, if we take the last part of Abbey Road, which I count as their last recorded studio album, the medley itself is this roller coaster of durations. And in fact, some of the pieces are cut up in two. So it's hard to know if these are the shortest pieces or the collectively longest piece. And there's this constant play, which brings in that sense of dizziness and a strangeness about their music, even though they're operating within that pop realm. One thing with pop also is that we tend to have two things. One is that we have a chorus that is usually the title of the tune that we lead up to, we get rewarded with, and then it goes on and on at the end. Another thing is, if there's anything new, you better wrap it up, like a bridge. You put it about 2/3 of the way through, and you can see the blue things here. These are typical structures for pop songs, have been hidden. So we have earned choruses and wrapped novelty. The Beatles, however, broke this almost from the get-go with tunes that started with the choruses. So you wouldn't know what was a verse or a chorus. Strawberry Fields Forever starts with a half verse instrumentally before heading into the chorus. Happiness is a Warm Gun is just 5 completely independent sections running onto each other with no repetition at any point. Sometimes they would put the new stuff right at the end, which is the strangest thing to do. The Hey Jude, that na-na-na-na bit, is thematically independent, but goes on for the longest time. Magical Mystery Tour has this beautiful Dorian slow jam for no reason. And this moment in Glass Onion, where it's this amazing rocking track, and just it stops dead, and we're left with something. Don't go back. That's it. That's your song. Let's talk rhythm. Rhythm harnesses our predictive powers as humans. So when we hear an event happening in the world, we expect another one. And the easiest way to predict the future is to expect repetition. We can think of it like walking. You take one step, and then you take another, and you repeat that process. But because rhythm operates on multiple levels, we can think of it as two people walking. Left, right, left, right. This is the most common predictive pattern, and music tends to hack it. It doesn't always use it. Sometimes it plays against it. But this is a sort of base level that we find around the world, actually, even though some cultures break away from it very early. And then two pairs of people. Yes, I know. So that's why you see the number 4 in music, 4 bars, 4/4, the notes the beats divided up in 4 parts or 2 parts, or 8 parts, or 16 parts, or 32, and we keep going till we're 64. Yes, I know. And what we find in pop music is a complete allegiance to those binary metrical structures, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, and 64. Here's some representations of them in grid form. This doesn't happen all the time in pop music. A lot of the pieces they covered were 12-bar forms, which aren't pure binary. They're 3 4-bar sections, which invites repetition. It makes you want to keep playing them over and over again, but still quite a soft departure from binary world. The Isley Brothers version of Twist and Shout, which they copied, adds 2 bars to get some more tension on that R section. But again, the Beatles, very early on, started playing with this in far more radical ways that you wouldn't know unless you were counting. For example, Love Me Do adds an extra bar, breaking away from that binary structure, as he's pleading to love him.
Love me do. You know I love you. I'll always be true.
2,
So
3, 4, 5.
love me do.
And it seems to match the lyrics, extending that plea. In contrast, this track cuts 1 bar out. He can't hide and has to move on to the next section.
And when I touch you, I feel happy inside. It's such a feeling that my love I can hide, I can hide, I can.
Now, this sort of device the Beatles did all the time, a high-level predictive trick that fools us, but does so without us even noticing, profoundly affecting us deep inside.
Yeah, you got that something.
So we can think of standard rhythms as a walk, left, right, left, right. This permeates standard pop writing. But the Beatles often did something extra. They introduced groups of 3 pulses or 3 bars. You can think of those groups of 3 not as a walk, but a waltz. 1, 2, 3. And throughout the Beatles catalogue, we can find these examples of little and big waltzes hidden away, disorientating the listener.
3, 1, 2, 3.
There's nothing you can do that can't be done.
It has this little waltz at the end
Nothing
of
you
the
can
bar.
sing
So
that can't be
gorgeous.
sung. Nothing you can say.
There's also this approach called the cadential hemiola, which are the point of transformation. You just group subdivisions into 3 parts.
And in the end, the love you take is equal to the love you make.
Perhaps the most extraordinary track, which I heard as a child and didn't understand what was happening to me, but I felt like I was in a dream world listening to I Am the Walrus. And it was only years later I worked out why it is. A blues is 3 times 4 bar sections, but I Am the Walrus literally twists that form and has 4 times 3 bar sections. And once you know that, you can't hear it any other way, but I'll demonstrate it to you now. The top bar part will be bars grouped in 3, the bottom beats grouped in 4. Straight in.
See how they run like pigs from a gun, see how they fly. I'm crying.
You'd expect another bar, but no.
Sitting on a cornflake, waiting for the van to come.
It's this constant elision, like you're in an Escher painting.
Corporation t-shirt, stupid bloody Tuesday man. You've been a naughty boy, you let your face grow long. I am the Eggman.
And And this happened all the time through their music and on multiple levels. For example, we take a string of subdivisions, and we could choose to group them in 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Or we could choose to group them in 2s, daka, daka, daka. We could even choose 2 groups of 3, daka, 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 or 3 groups of 2, daka, daka, daka. And so you could build entire tracks by this sort of threading, multi-level prediction.
Mother Superior, jump the gun. 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 Happiness is a warm gun. Bang, bang, shoot, shoot. Happiness.
Even in their poppiest tracks, there's this constant walking and dancing that's happening.
It's alright.
Let's talk Ringo. He was a pioneer in many areas, but most importantly, he played perfect parts for every piece the Beatles composed. So let me explain with drumming. Sometimes we think of it as timekeeping, as we're just providing a pulse and a framework for people to do the important stuff on top. But rhythm is hugely important in our musical appreciation. Let's take a normative rock beat. This would work all the way through the Beatles' tracks. It'd make them worse, but it would work. There's a little notational form at the top left for you. Now, in my life, he makes things better by cutting things out. He cuts out that third beat, which makes all the lyrics sound so clean and crisp. So I've removed everything apart from the drums and the vocals. And you can hear how they interweave so elegantly.
There are places I remember all my life, though some have changed, some forever, not for better. Some have gone, and some remain, all these places.
Or this moment in Ticket to Ride where he provides the beat, but then catches that middle triplet of the guitar. It's so beautiful. That one. Or the colorful, menacing texture put together. Or maybe the perfect trancey beat that you could listen to for hours and hours. I know, because I have. Just gorgeous. But let's dive deeper. In rhythmic experience, we have pulses, beats, and we usually conceive them as being cut in equal parts, as quavers. Or maybe we have some rational subdivision, like a dotted quaver, 3/4 of the beat. But there's this area here that jazz and all music forms, in fact, explore, this swing zone here, which adds colors, subtle colors that get under your musical skin. So let's listen to a straight quaver. Nice. A triplet swing, which is heavily swung. And Ringo's swing on this track.
I'm fixing a hole where the rain gets in.
This beautiful syrupy quality to it. But rhythm is not a solo sport. And how they interacted with the band was wonderful also. For example, on I Feel Fine, the guitar is very swung in this really joyful manner. Now, most people would just go with that swing feel and just join in. but not Ringo. He just plays it straight. And when you combine them, it's this majestic mess. Gorgeous.
Now, the Beatles showed great invention in terms of their rhythms and their lyrics, but it's time now to turn to harmony. Now, in standard pop writing, we tend to use diatonic harmony. That's melodies and chords derived from just one key, let's say the white notes on the piano. We can build chords from this by taking any notes, skipping one, and skipping another to stack up these triads. And what you end up with is 3 major triads, 3 minor triads, and 1 strange diminished chord. And you can write beautiful music just stepping through each of these chords, like in the Beatles track, Getting Better.
It's getting better, it's a little better all the time. Can't get no worse. I have to admit, it's getting better, it's getting better since you be mine.
Now, Getting Better has a diatonic walk through these chords, but it's actually more common to arrange the chords not in steps, but in fifths. Fifths feel closer in a way. In that way, we can think of the 1 chord at the center and the 5 chord next to it on one direction and the 4 chord next to it in the other. And these 3 primary chords are really important in pop writing. And the Beatles knew it. They knew they needed all 3. I'll let Paul explain.
Remember once hearing about a bloke who knew B7. Now, we knew E and we knew A. It was quite easy, but we didn't know B7. That was kind of the missing part of the link, the other chord, the lost chord. So on we go, on the bus, trooped across Liverpool, changed a couple of buses, found this fella, and he showed us dum, 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 B7. We learned it often, got back on the bus, went home to our mates and went, you got it.
And you can do a lot with these 3 primary triads. Sometimes they're called tonic, subdominant, and dominant because they've got different levels of tension. And we'll let the Beatles teach us those.
Lucy in the sky with diamonds. Lucy in the sky with diamonds.
Now, this is a very common way to go around the circle of subdominant, dominant, but it doesn't have to be that way. Also, we can use not just triads, but we can add a bluesy 7th to each of those, which is a common thing in blues-influenced music. So here's 7th chords going in the opposite direction.
She's in love with me and I feel fine. She's in love with me and I feel fine.
So let's put them here. But we can continue the journey and go fifths above and below with these diatonic triads. And what you get is this cycle that wraps around. It's an ordering that you don't normally see on the piano, but this is the sort of logical tonal ordering. So we'll put them in a circle. And it means that we can have the idea of home at the top, and then we have our 4 chord over there, our 5 chord, and look how beautifully they voice lead. We might move out further, but even that 5-to-1 experience is really powerful. Even if you play the root of that 5 chord, it feels like it hangs there forever.
Her Majesty's a pretty nice girl. Someday I'm gonna make her mine. Oh yeah, someday I'm gonna make her mine.
Let's talk about that dominant chord, because they come in different flavors. For example, we can use it just to build tension. This was recorded at the end of the entire Please Please Me album in one day. And John had a cold, so you can hear his wobbliness, but it still sounds glorious. Or we can color that dominant a different way, more mysterious perhaps. Or add a blues tone to it in a Hendrix-like manner. So good. or sharpen the fifth and add that flat third sound.
I wanna be famous, a star of the screen, but you can do something in between. Maybe you can drive my car,
This is just the vocals. You're welcome.
but you can do something in between.
Sometimes they can be softer. This is called a gospel sus chord. It's basically a 5 chord in the bass root and a 4 chord on top, and it has this lovely expansive sound.
The long and winding road that leads.
Let's hear just those chords. And they don't need to resolve where they ought to. They can move in all sorts of directions. Some of them are really hard to name. The Hard Day's Night chord has been form of mystery over the years, and many people have attempted to name it. Some of these guesses are better than others, let's just say. But now with musicological rehashing of the session day and audio analysis, we can get closer still. So this is our best guess so far. That's George's on a 12 string, so the harmonies all entangle itself. So in red and yellow is what Pedler thinks these are, but Brown is convinced that it's the brown colors. Now, I don't think they would be playing the same chord, but I can't imagine John Lennon playing just a single C note. Anyway, what I've done is extracted the sine waves, reconstruct it, and hear the chord that will swim in for a while and see how close we are.
It's been a hard day's night, and I've been working like a dog.
I think that's pretty close. So if you're keeping track, that's a second inversion, G, genuine 11th or 13th if we count the strong harmonic. Try telling that to the keyboard player. So, and one last approach, and really important approach to dominant chords, is just not to resolve them, to just sit in them. Just enjoy the color they provide and the scale associated with them. Like Tomorrow Never Knows, which doesn't depart from this one step. No desire to move on, which matches the song's message. So with this in hand, we can start talking Beatles harmony. Let's imagine we have a home point here, which is our root. We can get to that root point via the 5 chord, or we can go further on the diatonic cycle and still have good voice leading. We can do clever things like having a dominance of a chord that isn't the 1 chord. These are called secondary dominants, which leans away. It's a sort of off-road on our harmonic journey. And we can have these beautiful plagal cadences, which feel like more trusting and softer motions. So here's Golden Slumbers, and you'll see he's leading us home, and he says home, and we reach the tonic. And then the color changes as we head on the other side of this circle.
Once there was a way to get back homeward. Once there was a way to get back home. Sleep, pretty darling, do not cry, and I will sing a lullaby. Golden slumbers lullaby.
So we are being beckoned home. But we can take this further. Well, they can. We can go all the way round that circle in different directions. So in this track, you'll see that going clockwise has a sense of working towards something, toiling away as he carries on all the way round. And then it changes gear and changes direction, having this trust fall backwards. What we get is a secondary plagal cadence, a 4 of a 4. Now, if this is getting bewildering, you can just follow the pathway and see how it feels as we head further from the circle in different directions.
You never give me your money. You only give me your funny paper. And in the middle of negotiations, you break down. I never give you my number. I only give you my situation. And in the middle of investigation, I break down. Out of college, money spent, see no future, pay no rent. All the money's gone, nowhere to go. Any jobber got the sack, Monday morning, turning back. Yellow lorry slow, nowhere to go. But oh, that magic feeling, nowhere to go. Oh, that magic feeling, nowhere to go, nowhere to go.
But they didn't always use those chains. They enjoyed breaking them to leave the listener a little lost. Because it's this extraordinary track, is it in C sharp minor or D? It's hard to tell, but it takes this strange circuitous route, yet sounds so right.
Because the wind is high, it blows my mind. Because the wind is high, high. Love is old, love is new. Love is all, love is you. The sky is blue, it makes me cry.
You might have noticed when it went to that magic feeling, something happened here. It's something about the Beatles. They're able to use these chains, but suddenly move to this chord that hits you in a way you weren't expecting, but retrospectively feels so right. And this is not without origin. Here's a couple of tunes which I think they were deeply inspired by and they covered. And they have this strange move, which I'm going to call the honey chord. It appears in Honey Don't by Carl Perkins.
Well, how come you say you will when you won't? Say you do, baby, when you don't. Let me know, honey, how you feel. Tell the truth now, is love real? So, well, honey, don't.
And more famously in Peggy Sue.
Peggy Sue, Peggy Sue.
Why does that sound so strange, yet familiar? The reason is it's close but far. One note stays the same and the other two move in opposite directions. It's like slipping through a rabbit hole into this new harmonic world. You can feel that on the guitar. Here's an A to F. Now this move has been given many names over the decades from theorists. So honey chord or the flat 6 chord will do for us. But essentially, we can think of it as this portal to go from the ordinary to a distant place. But it's not just a random move, it's a move that makes sense in retrospect. So if we associate one with the everyday and the flat six with the other, the magical dreams and the strange, we are crossing this boundary line. I'll show you a few examples.
So how could I dance with another? Oh, and I saw her standing there.
You're not convinced yet? How about this one?
When you told me you didn't need me anymore. Well, you know I need.
How about these examples, variation of it? And you can think of it as a boundary line between the everyday and the magical.
The magical mystery tour is hoping to take you away. Hoping to take you away.
Always associated with strangeness across that line.
Honey pie, you are making me crazy.
Not sure why I did jazz hands, but it felt right. And this tune, it beautifully rocks between these two worlds.
I told you about strawberry fields.
So glorious.
Know the place where nothing is real.
Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds elongates that A to F across a whole series. It tries one time and gets to an F augmented, and then does it again, as if it's two worlds that we are being lulled across.
Picture yourself in a boat on a river with tangerine trees and marmalade
And here we're here.
skies.
The way we can think of it as they're composing is that they have chords from the major scale and they have chords from the minor scale also. We can think of them as light and shade, a palette that they can pick from at any point. So in E, these are the chords from the major scale, and here the chords from the E minor scale, and you'll notice that flat 6 honey chord is there, one of their favorites, but they use all of these. Take this tune, and something might happen to you as we cross the boundary.
He's a real nowhere man, sitting in his nowhere land, making all his nowhere plans for nobody. Making all his nowhere plans for nobody. Making all his nowhere plans for nobody.
Well, this short moment here as we drop right down that rabbit hole.
Let me take you down, 'cause I'm going to strawberry fields. Nothing is real.
And there are all sorts of beautiful moves that happen. The most powerful is changing the one chord from major to minor, which happens in this piece just as he talks of the sun going down.
Day after day, alone on a hill, the man with the foolish grin is keeping perfectly still. But nobody wants to know him, they can see that he's just a fool. And he never gives an answer, but the fool on the hill sees the sun going down, and the eyes in his head see the world spinning round.
You might have noticed a different color creep in there. That's because there's more to scales than major and minor. There are what's called modes between these major and minor variants, all with different colors and messages. I've given a short description of these here. So now they have a wide palette which they enjoyed, allowing sunlight, warmth, and melancholy to come into their pieces.
I once had a girl, or should I say, she once had me. She's shown me her room, isn't it good? Norwegian wood. She asked me to stay and she told me to sit anywhere. So I looked around and I noticed there wasn't a chair. I sat on the road.
And we could take wider ranges. I don't know if you know the tune Penny Lane, but it has these drops in it as if the clouds are going across the sky at certain moments.
Penny Lane, there is a barber showing photographs of every head he's had the pleasure to know, and all the people that come and go stop and say hello. On the corner is a banker with a motor car, and little children laugh at him behind his back.
And we can take any number of these colors and move them together to make extraordinary moments. This is Blue Jay Way, which aptly feels like we're in a mystery land. We're not moving because we're all on the one chord, and there's tension there, just as if you're lost across the border.
There's a fog upon LA, and my friends have lost their way. We'll be over soon, they said. Now they've lost themselves instead. Please don't be long. Please don't you be very long. Please don't be long, or I may be asleep. Well, it only goes to show.
So with all these chords, you can build melodic paths through them. Now, many pop bands might stick to preferred notes to sing on those chords. Of course, you can sing any note of the chord, the triads, and there's some examples of them doing just that, or any notes from the scale. A little spicier is to sing blue notes against them. There's your examples. But then there are some missing holes to fill. They do so, and this one track beautifully fills the rest.
Nothing is real, and nothing to get hung about.
Let's hear it one more time.
Nothing is real, and nothing to get hung about.
Not only did the Beatles use every chromatic note, but they explored the gaps between them. Let's listen to Lennon's isolated vocals on Year Blues.
Yes, I'm lonely.
Listen how he uses the whole blues note continuum.
Wanna die. Yes, I'm lonely.
And the Beatles knew it too. Here's Paul teaching John how to play the break on I Got a Feeling, how he beautifully curves the note through the 5th and the 4th degrees of the scale.
It's coming down too fast, the note. Should be the... No, it shouldn't. It shouldn't be any recognizable jumps. Shouldn't be like It's just like falling. I try and sort of sing it. All I'm looking for was somebody who looked like you.
And this is how the recording turned out on that rooftop concert.
I've got a feeling that keeps me on my toes. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I've got a feeling, I think that everybody knows.
And they explored it in electronics also, of course. A moment about technology. Technology is an instrument and all instruments are technology, but electronics provide three important features that break the conventional use of instruments. And that is they can be moved in space, either broadcasted or in a virtual listening space. They can be dislocated in time, meaning they can be recorded or reversed or stretched, and they can do things on their own. So here's an example in Tomorrow Never Knows of all of those approaches. So for example, the vocals are given this treatment where they are delayed using a tape delay, so it sounds like an echo. They're also taking a voice and stretching it and warbling so it sounds like seagulls. And they also put the voice through a Leslie speaker, so they're rotating it around an acoustic space.
Turn off your mind, relax and float
Tape delay.
downstream.
And here's a Leslie speaker.
It is not living.
A beautiful otherness. The seagull sound is actually Paul's laughter, which I've tried to recover to some degree. Doesn't sound exactly like that. They all brought, for this session, they all just brought different loops together, and in a short amount of time, just loops on top of each other in this haphazard, ambient way. But it's glorious. Unplanned, but somehow this gorgeous tapestry that emerges. Bass and drum loops used provide the underpinning. And then some audio is pilfered. Here's the Taxman solo. They took phrases like this, stretched it so it went down a tone to fit the key, and then reversed it to lose the edginess. And let's hear it, all of them in context.
Let's see how all these ideas come together in just one piece. A Day in the Life comes at the end of the Sgt. Pepper's album, after the concert has finished, as if it's a coda to the album. But the piece itself has its own coda, this eternal E chord played on 9 pianos by 12 players. And it's followed by this inaudible high whistle, which was put there by Lennon just to annoy the dog. I've played it here at different transpositions so you can get to hear it. And then when we think it's all over, hidden on the final groove of the record is this strange loop of voices. It's as if the music never runs out. We have a coda to the album, a coda to that piece, and then this eternal run-off groove.
And if you're into pareidolia, you can play it backwards.
Again, Lennon used his trick of sourcing his lyrics from everyday life, and I've managed to track down the newspaper articles for a lot of these lyrics. Here's the holes in Blackburn, Lancashire. The reference to the English army having won the war is to Lennon's appearance in a film, How I Won the War. And that fatal car accident was not made up. It was actually about a friend of the Beatles, Tara Brown. And so when Lennon read that newspaper article, it would have hit him hard, and that's hidden beneath the surface of the lyrics.
I read the news today. The verse is purely diatonic. So why does it sound rather sad, even though it starts and ends on G and is all diatonic? Well, there's this hidden lament going through it, which Paul outlines beautifully. Quite beautifully, there's no 5 chord bringing us home. We're left in a harmonic limbo. The only non-diatonic chord suggests a sad Phrygian moment with this melodic arch.
Well, I just had to laugh.
Glides are used to suggest an otherness.
I'd love to
here comes this transition. 24 bars. Why 24? Representing the hours of the day. A glide with these strange noises put inside it. The counting off by the roadie, and then these otherworldly sounds that you don't hear but you feel. If C to E looks familiar, it's because we're crossing the boundary again, from the strange back to wakefulness. Time is cut to sense urgency.
And looking up, I noticed I was late. Found my coat and grabbed my hat. Made the bus in seconds flat. Found my way upstairs and had a smoke. And somebody spoke and I went into a dream.
This dream section brings us from those early chords, E to C, the honey chord, went into a dream and turn you on, oscillates between the two of them. So they jump to that chord, but the most beautiful thing of the dream section is they get back through it, through a series of these plagal cadences, which they've used, a single plagal, a double plagal cadence, even a triple plagal cadence. But in the day in the life does an extraordinary thing where it leaps between E and C, but comes back through this tumbling, soulful release.
Found my way upstairs and had a smoke. And somebody spoke and I went into a dream.
A honey chord, a quadruple plagal cadence, all in a dizzying 5-bar phrase. I'm often asked if I think that the Beatles knew what they were doing when it came to the music that they wrote. And I like to say yes. Sure, they might not have had the exact terminology for all the devices they used, but they heard it in the music they love, and they knew how to rework them to create this beautiful music, melding these all together.
It's as if they've gathered up all that love they've heard in the music and packaged it and sent it to us in a way that an adult and even a child can understand. Thank you so much. Thank you.